Hello, my name is Gianna DeMiro, and I'm going to be talking about why college should be free. The idea of free college is still up for debate for a lot of people, and it has big effects on our society as a whole. I believe that offering free college education will improve opportunities for everyone, the economy, and it will create a workforce with greater education skill and advanced opportunities. I also think that financial obstacles can be removed to allow people from all walks of life to seek higher education without having to worry about a huge debt, level the playing field, and promoting equitable access to opportunities and information. Free college education can also contribute to a more successful society by promoting change, lowering wealth inequity, and making sure that potential and talent are not wasted because of the lack of funds. The possibility of lowering income differences is a strong argument for the concept of free college education. For those with low income, the expenses of higher education currently acts as a major barrier, preventing them from moving up from an economic ladder and keeping them in a cycle of poverty. Tuition fees for college should be removed to allow students from less fortunate circumstances or who are really just not able to pay to continue higher education without having enormous debt in the end, which debt can be with someone for years and years after they graduate. Instead of giving people the ability to better their financial situations, this strategy helps guarantee that wealth is distributed most fairly throughout society. In this article about why public higher education should be free, Samuel states, making public education free, which would eliminate the burden of student loans for high achieving but less affluent students by rerouting government assistance that goes for profit institution or tax breaks for the wealthy, by reconstructing how education is financed. The emphasis could be shifted from researchers towards equality undergraduate education. In the end, we can establish an environment where skill and hard decision rather than social class are the key predictors of this success by guaranteeing that education is accessible to everyone regardless of financial means. From another article named Reliable and Empowering, they give pros and cons about if college should be free. They say if tuition is free, students will take on significantly fewer loans. Student loans that in the United States is almost 1.75 trillion. 45 million Americans have student loan debt, and 7.5 million of those borrowers are in default. The average 20,000 graduates owed $28,950 in college loans. Approximately 92% of the U.S. student loans are owned by the U.S. Department of Education. In the United States, we are already $1 trillion in debt, and student debt is just adding more. This is the visual aid that I'm going to show you that proves about the data that I've just spoken about.
The average cost of tuition and fees for the 2017-2018 school year was about $10,000 at public colleges and $35,000 at private colleges. That's just 1 year of college. I know people who don't make that in a year. But it wasn't always like that. In 1987, in today's dollars, a year at a public college cost around $3,200, and at a private college, it was around $15,000. That means today, only 30 years later, students are paying 129% more at private colleges and 213% more at public colleges. Costs continue to rise for a bunch of reasons, including increased demand, more available financial aid, and a lack of state funding. Kindergarten.
Most students have to take out a loan which is usually larger than their credit card loan, a home payment, or a car loan. The opposite side of why college should not be free, I found an article called American Institution for Economic Research. George states, free college would not completely sever financial connection between the seller, which is colleges, and the customer, which is students, with the full expense of college failing on the third party, which is the taxpayers. Students would no longer have any economic things to pay for. Neither would college. This comment implies that there would be no longer any financial relationship between colleges and students if college were free. The lack of tuition fees may cause students to become less motivated to choose their education wisely. And similar, if situations get financially regardless of enrollment or economic performance, they may lose motivation to innovate or lose controls. In conclusion, supporting free colleges education is a strategy investment in our future together, as well as an issue of equity. We make sure that potential are not wasted because of financial limitations by tearing down the financial obstacle that frequently keep people from going to college. This strategy promotes a more inclusive chance of professionally and personally advancement. Furthermore, we can address persistent injustice and encourage upward mobility by leveling the playing field and granting fair access to education, which will ultimately result in a more successful, united community. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed.